My name is Andrii, call sign Favorit. I am a platoon commander of the Artan Special Unit of the Main Intelligence Directorate.
Artan.
The unit is young. It was founded when the full-scale war took place. It initially started with a small number of people. Currently, we already have a full-fledged battalion. It consists of totally different people. There are officials who are fighting for us, professional athletes, world champions. Recently, our fighter Ole Priamakov became a two-time world champion in Thai boxing. The demands in our battalion are very serious. This includes physical training as well as moral and psychological qualities, because the tasks are completely different and require proper training. These can be tasks in the air, tasks on the water, or some land operations. In other words, every soldier here must be practically proficient in everything. And we are following this principle, along with shooting from any weapon. It was formed for specific tasks, for example, where there is some kind of stalemate or anything else, we go out, clear it or make a breakthrough. And then the infantry goes in, takes up positions, and so on. Or it could be pinpoint tasks that are carried out by very small groups, perhaps behind enemy lines. Each operation is interesting in its own way. I can say, probably, let's start with the most challenging operation. The most challenging operation was, well, it's not exactly an operation, we were in Bakhmut for a month, personally me and my platoon. And we were clearing it, breaking through, then bringing in infantry. But it turned out that the infantry didn't always cope. And we diluted the infantry positions with our soldiers and essentially functioned like infantry ourselves. And it turns out that this is also very difficult to endure. So I truly bow down to the infantry. Maybe it doesn't look as impressive and beautiful as the tasks we perform, but living constantly in the same position, without sleep, without normal food and so on, is really very difficult, having to fight a constant battle. Generally speaking, I am a reserve officer. I graduated from the military department, so I had some basic theoretical training, and as the war broke out, I was also officially an advisor to the mayor of Vasilkiv, and when the war came to Kyiv region, I established my own volunteer territorial community formation, the Vasilkiv Shield. I had more than 1,000 people there, and we brought instructors, provided training. So I got some basic skills there, because I, as a commander, went through all these trainings together with the soldiers. And when the war left Kyiv region, I decided that I succeeded and would be useful. I managed to join the main intelligence directorate and got into this unit. So I am very glad to be there, as I got all the other skills there. Because we have a principle in the unit similar to competitions, when we're not in active combat. We are constantly training and preparing for assignments to be in the best possible shape. Vasilkiv Shield was a group of fighters, including myself. We went with the armed forces on some assignments, for example, when there were no hostilities in Vasilkiv. We went to Dimer, and from the other side we went to Kyiv region. I can't say that it was constant, but sometimes we did it. The skills I have now, I can say, were not present back then. Secondly, the experience I gained in combat actions and the psychological preparation, in its own way, reflects on each individual, I think. It's hard, because most of it is new, but if you have to, you have to. There's no other way. The most challenging thing is probably everything related to endurance, because you have to sometimes walk a long distance, carrying all your weapons, a backpack, bearing a load of around 40 to 45 kilograms, and even simply walking 10 kilometers is something not everyone can do.
І пройти там, навіть просто пройти 10 кілометрів, насправді не кожен може.
So, you've been stuck here for 4 days, huh? When do you get a shift change? Well, congratulations. In Bakhmut, most of the battles that took place were in close combat, and there we could directly exchange words with the enemy. They were swearing at us, saying surrender and so on. The distance there is May 10, 2015 meters, so the contact is very close. Because when you are somewhere in a trench and the enemy is far away, it's one thing, but in close combat, by the way, psychologically, it's probably the most challenging type of combat, because you always feel that you are outnumbered, that you are alone or something like that. That's the toughest thing, probably. Support, cohesion and confidence in the people next to you are very important. Because there have been situations. This doesn't concern my unit. But when there's a general military operation or a front line, it's divided among different units, and there's communication. The first thing to do is to establish communication with adjacent units. And sometimes they might say on the radio everything is fine, we are in position. But when you arrive at that position, they might either be covering your left or right, and there's no one there, for example. Such things are, of course, unacceptable. But unfortunately, it does happen. I can say that there are a lot of them. But in reality, a small percentage are well-prepared and truly skilled soldiers who want to engage in combat. They have very few special units, they don't have Wagner's forces now, and I think that Wagner's group is probably one of their strongest soldiers. They don't have them now either, so the quantity of people is there, but in essence, they lack these special skills. From our last operations, all the soldiers have a Kalashnikov rifle, 4 magazines and that's it, that's all their equipment. And they go out at night without thermal imagers, night vision devices, and so on. Therefore, the effectiveness of such a soldier is zero. Honestly, I think that from a political perspective, Prigozhin was initially prepared as an opposition too. But perhaps at some stage he was already allowed to say a lot of things in the media space. And at a certain stage, I think there were individuals who helped him believe in himself. And there was a turning point, an uncontrollable moment. But I guess there was a lack of confidence and wit to see it through to the end. Also, there might have been some missed opportunities within Ukraine to provoke something inside Russia. I think that if there had been some kind of provocation in terms of clashes and bloodshed, it could have taken on a larger scale, for us. I think this is definitely a positive thing, because Wagner is still the main bulk. There are also 2 types within Wagner. They have a core that has been fighting all over the world, and they have experience. The second type is those whom, if you remember, they recruited from prisons and among the ill. These were the expendable troops. They were sent to the front lines to locate firing positions, etc., and then their specialists went on. I think this is A+ for us, because if they have fewer properly trained fighters, it is only advantageous for us.